Hi YouTube, welcome back in. Yo yo. Today we're gonna be watching They Thought They Could Get Away with It by the Background NPC. I haven't watched the video yet, obviously no pre-watching, but let's check it out and see what who could get away with what or couldn't get away with what.
Hi, it is so great to be
Hi.
back. I have missed you guys so much. I know I was gone for a little while. I'm so sorry. Between the
I've
holidays,
never been
work,
here.
catching up on games, getting a new puppy, and then unfortunately getting pretty
Hubby?
sick, it has been a lot. But I am doing well now, and I can touch more on all of that at the end. But first, we have to catch up on everything that has happened while I was gone. Well, Clay Obscure had a massive sweep at the Game Awards at the end of
Yeah,
last year, and we also witnessed the trailer drop for the new Divinity game from
wasn't bad. I still feel like there were other games that could have, you know, that could have had more, what is it? Let me move myself over like here. Oh, I've got a black bar. My bad, guys. Hold on. That's on me. Um I feel like there could have been more like representation for other games at the Game Awards, but not to say that Claire Obscure didn't deserve it, but I feel like, it we should be capping how many awards somebody gets.
Larian, we saw not one, not two, but three versions of Lara Croft get introduced.
I
We learned that it
love
is
Lara
totally
Croft.
okay and even encouraged for devs to give feedback on how to make a character hotter, as long as it's Leon Kennedy and as long as the devs are women. A game called
It should be more than if it's just Leon Kennedy. And if she touches on this subject, then yeah, I've got a little bit to talk about.
Code Violet came out as a PS5 exclusive.
Not a
Why, you
lot, but
ask?
a little.
Because the devs said they did not want PC modders to turn it into a Gooner game. Well, given the game's poor
Wait,
reception,
that's the game oh my god. Guys, come on. If you can't just cap it on a console, and people will crack it and people will eventually emulate it. Now, I am not by any means saying that it is a good thing, but I'm just saying, like, you can try to limit it to a console, but there are some bad actors that will probably do things that they shouldn't do because um it is not uh, a a good thing, and God will smite them down 100%, but they'll figure it out and they'll go around whatever precaution you took. So let's not do this and let's just let people be gooners. All right, like, let's come on.
I bet they wish the Gooners were here now. We also got new Fable news, and while I am still not 100% sold on this one, I
I
will
can't
at
wait
least
for this
say the
game.
world looks very whimsical. It
I
gives a
want to
lot of
try it so
Hogwarts
bad.
Legacy vibes. Two
I've got to
medieval
go back
games,
and play the
Knight's
first
Path
one.
and
And
1348
this,
exvoto, both dropped trailers, and these two games pretty much perfectly sum up the state of the discourse in the industry right now. And then, finally, there's Highguard, which launched and managed to break almost 100,000 concurrent players. Unfortunately, it has now lost about 90% of those players
yeah,
and is sitting at like 20,000 mostly negative reviews on
the
Steam.
game
And
failed
while everyone is mad at
low
Jeff
key.
Keighley for promoting this game, I am more concerned about Jeff himself. He was the sole marketer for this game, basically the only one. What do they have on him? Anyway, the start to 2026 has been a lot, so let's dive in. I was late night scrolling through Twitter last week when I came across a post of this cutie. It turns out she is a romanceable character for the upcoming game Knight's Path, and I thought,
Ooh,
oh wow, she's really pretty.
she's really pretty. Yeah,
That was it. That was my whole thought. And I was about to keep scrolling, but then I remembered that's not allowed. Not around here, partner. Not around here. Like clockwork, I checked the replies, and there it is. Gooner bait, incel game, and I just have to
can we not do this, guys? Like, this isn't gonna hit the Twitter audience, obviously, but like, can y'all not ruin good things that we get in games? Because like, we got a really pretty lady, and it wasn't even gooner bait. To be honest, she was very pretty. It's not like they gave her like massive jugs. It's not like they gave her a fat fucking ass. Like we, come on, guys, come on. Like, just appreciate a pretty lady. God, why can't we just appreciate pretty ladies in this household? Why is it so hard?
Ask, have we really fallen this far? Have we gotten so used
Yes,
to unattractive
yes, we
female
have.
characters that look like they were generated by an AI trained on solely mugshots that now a woman with a normal, pretty face is considered gooner bait? I would like to.
Yo, why are we claiming that this looks like a sex doll? There's no way. How? What? Who are you? We don't claim you in the gaming community, bruh.
Ad, it is literally just her face. The picture is from the neck up. She is just standing there, minding her own business, prettily, and the horny
She's showing
police
too much
say straight to
shoulder,
jail. But
actually.
honestly, I was so proud of the devs for sticking to their guns amid the backlash. This art direction came directly from a poll that they had run previously with their audience, and they followed through wholeheartedly. But then came the thing that really set people off. Someone asked if there would be representation in the game, and the devs did the unthinkable. And I realized in that moment that it
Um,
would not have mattered how they said it or what exactly it was that they said.
we care about gaming and fun, not modern agendas, as you should. I will make my stance very clear here. I do not mind representation in games, right? My problem is when it is forced representation in games. Like, let's be completely real here. We're talking about knights. We're talking male fantasy here. What does the knight do? The knight saves the pretty lady. Come on. Typical fairy tale, right? 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 Am I gonna get hate for this? Swear to God. Because we love a good fairy tale, and a good fairy tale has a knight, a princess in distress, and a dragon. All right, we can't forget about the dragon. Those are my peak fairy tales.
The problem was always going to be that they said no. And you know what? Good for them. Because if this industry is going to course correct, we need devs who can say no without fear. The pendulum has just got to swing, and this is what it looks
This
like.
is
We need
true.
devs
What
that are
she is saying is
solely
very
focused on
true.
the story that they want to tell and something that they are truly passionate about, rather than trying to cater to the modern audience or make something for everyone. We need devs who aren't bending over to appease journalists or loud Twitter activists, devs who are not using their Steam page solely as a LinkedIn diversity statement. Knight's Path is a game that knows exactly who it's for, and it is building for them.
There we
And
go.
it turns
Yeah.
out that's actually a lot of gamers because it's.
And you know what? That should be how games are made. I very much agree with the statements that she just brought out, and I will let it be known as well. I am very tired of people not taking risks and people just making these like games that are so half baked and that force representation for everybody in them whenever they don't need to. Now I will say representation is nice, right? Especially if it fits into the story. Representation is amazing. But when you force it, it comes off as tacky, it comes off as cliche, and it comes off like you are just checking a little box on a list and ruining my experience for no reason. So let's not do that. And let's actually add it. If we decide to add representation, let's do it the right way and not force it on a character.
They are already at 200,000 wish lists, including me,
I'm
and
gonna add a
you
wish
may
list,
or
bro.
may not hear my voice in there somewhere whenever the game releases. Now, if Knight's Path isn't your thing, that is totally fine. You do have options. You could check out 1348 exvoto, where you play as an angry lesbian knight with a bowl cut on a revenge quest across medieval Italy. And I
The
do say
what?
this genuinely, that is one of the most unique yet also not unique pitches I have heard in a long time. Why does she suspiciously look like Bella Ramsey? I don't know. The game also features Jennifer English, though, who I love so much, and I think she is so talented. But I will
He's
be
a
honest
very
with you,
talented voice
you know
actor.
how I feel about my female characters, and when I saw the trailer, my thought was simply, I am not sure who is, but I certainly am not the target audience for this, and I clicked off. And apparently, when the Xphoto devs saw everything happening with Knight's Path, they could not do the same. They hopped into the discourse with a snarky modern agenda tweet of their own, and journalists immediately materialized to defend them. Here is what is so funny to me.
Don't
If
do
you are
that.
confident in your game and your audience, why say anything at all? Well, apparently they can dish it out but not take it, because they have now closed their Steam discussion boards. Very knight-like, very chivalrous. And speaking of double standards, we have to talk about the GOAT himself, Mr. Leon Kennedy. I will admit, even though I am so excited for the
We
game,
love
I am way
Leon.
too much of a baby to play Requiem when it comes out, so I will have to watch my husband play through it first. But we recently learned that during RE9 development, a lot of the female devs had input on making sure Leon stayed hot, and they were getting very detailed about it, like the wrinkles on his neck detailed. You know what? I
Oh,
respect it. The
okay.
response from everyone has also been great.
I'm gonna let her continue here, and then I'm gonna say
Joking
something
about it,
about it because
celebrating it.
like
Yes, give us more hot Uncle Leon. But
this
here
is
is
so
where I
bad,
do start
in my
to spiral a
opinion.
little bit. We just went through this whole thing with Knight's Path. A female character shows up with a nice face, and suddenly it is incel chud bait. But for some reason, the same energy does not exist for Leon and his carefully workshopped neck wrinkles. Nobody is calling those devs weird for putting thought
Mm-hmm.
into making him attractive. They are passionate about making him attractive, and there is nothing wrong with that. They enjoy it, the audience will enjoy it, and it will help sell more copies of the game. And it is the same thing with Lara Croft, a character who has always been
Yeah.
meant to be attractive, but the recent reboot comes out, and suddenly people are clutching their pearls over her outfits, over her wearing makeup in a video game where she fights dinosaurs. Why does she need mascara to explore a tomb? I don't know. Why does Leon?
We want her to look good. We want her to look pretty. We want her to be, a piece of eye candy for the player, as she has always been since she released. Lara Croft is a character who, since day one, has been known as a sex symbol in the gaming industry. And you cannot change something that has been there for that long. Please stay out of my games if you're going to do that. Now, if Lara Croft had come in and not been, you know, targeted to a male audience from the start, then sure, whatever. If we suddenly made her like that, you can complain. And I won't like, you know, I won't judge you for complaining, because a drastic character change like that would be crazy. But we've known this since day one, who she is marketed towards and the way that she looks like. So you cannot be upset about that. And now, the problem here that I am also having is the fact that we don't mind sexualizing men. We don't mind completely gushing over them and doing all that, but the second that a woman is put behind those crosshairs, we suddenly have a big problem with it. And as she said, it is incel chud bait. But the second it is a guy, we can objectify and sexualize it as much as we want and not give a shit. What is this double standard that has been brought into the industry, guys? If I can sexualize a man, I should be able to sexualize a woman in a game. if I can make somebody look very good, everybody should look very good, right? Am I crazy? Is this a hot take? No, it's a common sense take. Say it with me, common sense take, right? Man, and it's not even like Leon either, but like Leon is just the latest thing. He's the latest character. And then we have all these female characters that like we get judged for and judged about for like not even over sexualizing, but like just making them look attractive. And I have such an issue with that because they're like, come on, guys. Rules for me or rules for thee, but not for me is kind of stupid. And we're now doing that based on gender right now for if I can make something look sexy or not. Let me look at everybody that looks good. Make every character look good. Make people question. Like, come on, it's not that difficult. Just make everybody attractive. Ah, it would make games enjoyable for everybody if all the characters were attractive. If we're being completely honest here, right? Right? Women, we know you want to stare at the men. Men, we know you want to stare at the women. My people that play both sides of the court, I know you want to look at both and stare at both and have a good time. So, like, come on, guys. Let's feed our starving audience here, right? Yes. That's my take. That's all I'm gonna say on this topic. Ooh.
Not need neck wrinkles to fight zombies. Why does anyone need to look good doing anything? It is a video game. It is for fun, escape, and enjoyment. Rules for thee, but not for he, I guess. Okay, let's talk about Highguard, which is truly one of the
He said
games
it.
of all
She
time.
said it.
So, like I
I
mentioned,
could have
it
just let
launched
her
with
play out the
almost
rest of the clip.
100,000 concurrent players, very huge numbers, and then almost immediately lost about 90% of them. Now, I am not going to jump on.
Okay. This video released like 2 weeks ago. From the time I'm finally watching it. But I think that the current player numbers are under 2,000, right? It's something like that. I think the last time I looked at the graph, it was like a 24-hour peak of 4K players. And then players at the time of looking at it was like around 2K. I want to say it was under 2K. So like the game fell off so fast. And the problem here is the fact that they got rid of a good amount of their lead designers and everything, which yeah, I get it, but like cut where you have the most amount of fat. But if you have if the most amount of fat is your good fat, then and you only leave the bad fat, then like what are we doing? What are we do? You're gonna end up paying more because things are gonna be taking longer. If you kept your senior like developers and your like lead designers, you would probably be in a much better spot than keeping everybody that you're probably paying pennies to. Let's be completely real here because chances are they they're an indie studio, they ain't got a lot of money, they ain't paying all these people like a crap a boatload of money. Let's be for real here. So like trimming the fat as hard as they did will definitely bite them in the butt, and I don't see a good thing happening with this game or this studio. I'm actually gonna hedge my bets now, and I'm going to call this, right? I'm going to call this, and if I'm correct, we come back and we say something, and we're like, damn, Cryo was right, but this studio shuts down before the end of 2027. or Highguard servers shut down before the end of 2027. Or I mean before 2027 comes through. All right? So, like by the end of this year, I feel like one of those two things is going to happen. It will most likely be the Highguard servers shutting down, or we will get an announcement about it. But I wouldn't be surprised if the studio is like, yeah, no, we can't do this, and the studio collapses. I I want to hope for the best, but just know that that is where my bet is. But I will hope that they didn't cut important or super important people and that they can come back from this. However, the longer this goes on, the more and more I doubt it, bro. Y'all got 9.5 months, and I don't see it happening.
Jeff Keighley too hard for this one. I genuinely do not know what it was that he saw in this game because after watching some gameplay, it's pretty rough, and I think the conversation probably went something like
Mm-hmm.
this. Jeff played a demo, fell in love for reasons unknown, told the devs, I am giving you a primetime slot in this year's Game Awards. And they were probably like, are you sure, Jeff? I don't know, maybe a smaller slot, maybe a tweet. And Jeff said, no, final spot, trust. And then he pointed finger guns at them and he walked
Mm-hmm.
away. But then reality happened, and it turns out,
I like
much like
that.
everyone was expecting, the game is not great. Now, to try and be super fair, I do think the internet was also kind of hunting for something. Everyone was looking for the next Concord. They wanted a new
Okay. We were hunting, but if we were proven wrong, then a different story would be told, right? Let's be for real. If we were all proven wrong by the release on day one, I feel like a lot of people would be singing the praise and being like, oh my god, we were so wrong about this. Oh, how could we have judged them? They were a new studio. No. Well, that's, you know, sadly, we don't live in that timeline. Um, and sadly, we were just proven right again. Sure, it was gonna be hard to sway us, because we were going to be wanting and expecting a lot. And I think, given what just happened, if they had marketed better, I feel like we would have at least probably said, game is palatable, it's okay. Right? Right? I feel like if it was marketed better and we knew what we were going into day one, a lot more people would have said, game is palatable, but I'm gonna go back to my main game. And we probably would have seen a bigger audience stay. However, since they decided to take the route of let's be quiet, that way we build up hype and a lot of people come in day one because they want to see what this game is about, they screwed themselves. Because ultimately, I was interested from watching the streams, but if I had like seen the first part, the first like little ad, and I roll in and that is my gameplay loop, then I'm like, no, I don't like this. This doesn't feel like the ad. I am not happy with it. I am leaving. But that's how I feel about it, right? I don't think that there's any other way to really put it. I mean, I just feel like if they had marketed it more and given it a little bit more love, it would have been a lot more successful. Granted, again, best case scenario, we would have said it was palatable because this was not gonna be like game of the year level. This was not gonna like knock the socks off of anybody in the state that it was in.
punching bag, and Highguard showed up at exactly the wrong moment with maximum spotlight on them. And I don't think most people are rooting for games to fail. Highguard was just at the wrong place at the wrong time, and this is just yet another sign that people are so over
Well,
the
that's
modern
where she's
slop.
kind of wrong
We
though.
are tired.
A
We
lot of
just
people are
want
rooting for
good
games to
games, and
fail,
we
and I
want to
feel
be
like we
excited
shouldn't
about
be.
good games. And when something gets hyped up like that and it does not deliver, it's gonna get roasted. Now, had this not been announced like it was at the Game Awards, had they just been left alone and done their own thing, they probably would have been fine. It would have launched to a much smaller group and they would have had the time to make changes and develop, and that could still happen. I really am hoping that they will be able to turn it around. Speaking of turning things around, oh, Ubisoft. I really did not think that it could get much worse for them after last year, and I have conflicting feelings about all of this. Part of
Has
me
it
wants to do the
gotten
Death Note
worse?
meme, but the other part of me, ugh, this is a company that I used to love, running across rooftops as Ezio, Pagan Min being one of my favorite villains ever, me and my cousins performing Rasputin on Just Dance because we took that game way too seriously. Ubisoft used to have the special sauce, so seeing where they are now, it's pretty rough. And we are only 1 month into the Grand 2-6, and already 6 games canceled, including the Prince of Persia remake that they
Ooh.
announced like 5 years ago. 7 more games have been delayed, 2 studios shut down. They have a €1 billion loss expected this year, and the stock is in the dump. Now, there are lots of reasons for why this is happening, and some people want to blame the market, but for Ubisoft, I think it is pretty simple. They stopped making great games. And that is a crazy take, I know, but clearly
It's
their
not a crazy
priorities
take.
shifted to monetization models, internal HR initiatives, consulting firms.
Here's the problem, right? With Ubisoft games, they are feeding us the exact same slop every year with a different coat of paint. I would argue that it is probably worse than Call of Duty. Um, because the issue with an Ubisoft game is that we have these single player games that are now relying on monetization models. So, single player game, monetization model. Whoa, what? And then the other issue that I'm having with their games is the fact that we are expected to put like 120 hours to get every single collectible in your game for 100% completion, and we are expected to put 60 plus hours to complete a storyline that is 45 to 65% fetch quest. It's not fun. It really isn't fun. And I feel like you're padding the stats here, Ubisoft, and you are. You're adding like all of this little bits of content that nobody wants to do. You're not enriching your game. You're literally just throwing slop into it and you're throwing trash into it. So you're making more of a landfill right now than you are, an actual like nice park or residential area. You are literally just shipping us landfills. That is all you are doing. Because if 50% or more of your game is going to be content that a player is not going to enjoy and we consider to be trash, there is a big problem. There is a very big problem. And we know that you just want to us trapped in your game for longer, even though what's ultimately going to happen is you're going to make us get fed up faster and we're just going to drop the game, not finish it, and maybe even return it because we got fed up before the 2 hour mark. Thank you, Steam. Anyways, Ubisoft, come on. Do better. Because genuinely, if you guys would make games like you used to, y'all would not be failing.
Telling them what modern players really want and then just picking fights with their own audience base. Do you remember when their subscriptions guy said that players need to get comfortable not owning their own games? Not
Yeah,
how
which
do
is
we make games that
bullshit.
people will love, but how do we extract maximum value from people that we don't even like? And when Ubisoft's games underperform, do they reflect? Nope. Outlaws undersold, they blamed Star Wars. Shadows got backlash, they called it a battle that they fought and won. A battle with their own customers. And their plan to fix things moving forward: more empty open worlds, more live service.
Mm.
The same exact formula that got them here, which is literally the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results, which I do have to point out that a character from their own game, Far Cry 3, actually quotes. So that is one side of the
Yeah.
coin. Now, let me show you the other side. While Ubisoft is collapsing, Sven Vinka casually posts that Divinity Original Sin 2, a game from 2017, just had its best sales month since launch. How does that even happen? Well, Sven says it's pretty simple. They make great games and they respect and like their players. At the Game Awards, they announced their return to Divinity, their most ambitious game yet, bigger than Baldur's Gate 3, and you could just feel the passion radiating off of it. But shortly after that, they hit a bit
I
of
need to play the
controversy over
Divinity
sharing that
games.
they were using Gen AI tool experimentation, which personally, I think the whole blow up over this was a bit ridiculous. They were just trying to be transparent about their creative process, but anyway, with all of that, what did they do when they were hit with that backlash? Did they gaslight everyone? Did they call it a battle? Nope. They held a Reddit town hall. With Sven, the art team, the writers answering questions directly. It is clear that they have a lot of passion and love for what they do and for their audience. Look no further than all of the free content that
I
they
will let
released the
you
past
finish
2 years for
talking.
Baldur's Gate. And after 20 million copies and all of those awards, they are still indie. They even chose to walk away from the Baldur's Gate franchise for now, which would have been a guaranteed money printer for them because they wanted to work on something they were more passionate about and deliver the most amount of value for their fans. Same industry, but completely opposite results. I think it really does come down.
Okay, you didn't really touch on it too much, but um, let's talk about AI tools real quick because yes, AI bad. Um, I will say AI is very bad. That's not like, oh my god, cryo hot take. Oh my god, so based, cryo based. No, it is bad, but we need to realize that it is going to be a part of society going forward, and there isn't much that we can do about it. Tools, I feel, are fine. Ideation help, I feel like, is okay. Um, shouldn't be depended on, but I feel like it is okay to maybe bounce a couple of ideas through a little funny engine and see where it might lead you. Granted, you should not one for one follow what the engine tells you, but you can bounce a couple of ideas off of it and see what you get. Straight up getting it to generate you art, that shouldn't be allowed, which I doubt a studio like Larian would do. Um, having it generate a bunch of dialogue, also not okay. We have writers for that. We literally have writers for that. These writers can use AI tools. That is completely fine. They can use AI tools for grammar checking. They can use AI tools to get ideas. They can use AI tools to maybe like help them write more eloquently, like if they want something to sound like it's very fancy or whatever. What I want though is for the main idea to have come from the writer. Okay? I feel like we should probably be getting not necessarily the original script for a game whenever it comes to if a writer has used a lot of AI tools or if a company has decided to do a bunch of AI like with their dialogue and their writing. I feel like there should be an original script and then the enhanced, quote unquote enhanced or uh proofread AI script per se. And then whenever it comes to art, whether that be 2D, like concept, flash, art, texture work, and then 3D models, uh, effects, things like that. I feel like all of that should be done without the use of AI tools. I understand maybe getting like, I don't know, a pose idea. I understand maybe wanting to use AI to, I don't know, maybe throw your own image through it if you're comfortable with that, which that you would only do this if you were comfortable with it, but throwing your own image in it and being like, hey, change their skin tone to this, or hey, change their eye color to this. If you really can't go in and like hue shift or redraw it because you think it'll be faster to do this, even though literally a hue slider will take you only a few seconds. I feel like ideation or help in that sense is okay with AI, but you have to be honest about it. And again, with the writing, you have to you have to provide us an original script at that point. If you're going to depend heavily on it in the writing of a game, I need an original script. I like an original script. I need an original like writing, and then the AI like edited version. I that might be a lot to ask. I understand, especially since like scripts are not given out to the public, to be honest, and neither is like all of these plot lines and graphs and everything, like whenever they're setting up their quest lines, whenever they're setting up every little dialogue tree, like those are never given to us as a player. Those are things that like the companies tend to hold very near and very like deep within them, because it is something that is very personal to the game's uh design document. However, if AI is going to be an issue and we need proof that you didn't fully AIify your game, then I feel like it is not too much of an app. But that is my standpoint on it.
To two questions. Do you like the game you were working on? And do you like the people you were making it for? Because when the answer to both is yes, you get Larian. When the answer to both is no, you get Ubisoft. Side note, I did finally play DOS 2 over the holidays. I was one of those post spike sales. The hype got to me. What can I say? And the whole time I was playing, I kept saying, this reminds me of Baldur's Gate 3. So if you are
We're gonna
into
need to play
CRPGs,
Divinity at
I
some
highly
point
recommend
on
it. It is a
stream.
very well done game.
Probably when my
Whew,
classes calm down.
okay, that was a lot. But if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for being here. Like I said at the start, it has been a while, but you know what they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder. So hopefully that is true for you too. Hopefully you missed me at least a little bit. It was a really busy couple of months though. I had family stuff, holidays, work. I finally did get to play Dispatch though. I beat DOS 2, which took a lot longer than I expected, but just getting to sit down and get lost in a good game again, it felt really great. Something that didn't feel great was watching Stranger Things season 5 and realizing that
So
I would never get
yeah,
that time back. I also got a new puppy who was very cute and very
you
chaotic,
cute
and
dog.
then I got sick for like 2 weeks straight, but I am back now and I'm feeling much better, and I am super excited for everything 2026 has in store. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sticking with me, and I'll see you in the next one.
Bye. All right, I've got to say I'm a little late to the video, but great video. Um, gave my input on it. Uh, besides that, make my characters more attractive. Pretty please, game industry. And AI bad. I think those are the key takeaways here today. Aside from Ubisoft is going into the gutter and Highguard blue. So, yeah, I hope you guys have a good day. YouTube, we are gonna be moving on to the next video. But yeah, thank you guys. Go and give them a follow, subscribe, whatever, and show them some love. Link will be in the description. Bye bye.